Hey, good morning. It's Paige Browning. It's Tuesday. This is Seattle Now. School is back in session, and for a lot of students, that's great news.
Going to school in person is way more exciting than online. I'm very excited to make new friends. It's so much easier to make them in person.
But behind the scenes, it's a complicated dance to make pandemic school fun and safe. Today we'll take you inside the excitement and the weirdness of the first day of school at one local elementary. But first, let's get you caught up. There could be a sick-out protest today by some employees at Seattle City Light who object to the city's vaccine mandate. An official with the utility emailed staff about the potential that a large number of workers could call in sick to try to force a work stoppage on projects on high-voltage electrical lines. According to the Seattle Times, the utility warned those employees could face discipline. Meanwhile, the state's largest union for state employees reached a tentative deal over the weekend on vaccine mandates. Under it, state workers still need to get the COVID vaccine, but would now get an additional day off in 2022. Kids are back in school and getting to spend time with friends and peers again, but more students are also looking for help with anxiety or other mental health struggles. King 5 News talked to school mental health counselors who said some kids may be having separation anxiety, being away from home, and others aren't comfortable navigating the social scene. Their advice: create space for kids to talk about what they're experiencing. And some sad news for fans of Beth's Cafe. They served their last coffee and omelets for a while on Labor Day at the 24-hour diner in Green Lake, Seattle. Beth's is closing again, but says it's temporary. In a Facebook post, the cafe's owner said they just weren't able to get enough business to stay open with COVID restrictions. They're hoping to come back online within the next 6 months.
I'm Jose Solorio, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm in Lake Stickney Elementary. And I'm excited to go back to school because I'm tired of seeing my friends through a computer screen, but also nervous because I don't want to get COVID again and stay lonely for at least 2 weeks.
Coming back to school has been an interesting experience, to say the least. It's fun to see all of my friends again, but then again, I can't hug them or high-five them like I normally could because COVID, and seeing everybody around socially distanced, at least I think 3 feet is what our school's doing with masks and all of that. It's just a really weird experience, but it's certainly better than online.
I prefer online school, which is a shocker to many, but in-person school is kind of stressful for me, but it's going good so far.
I don't think it's safe for all of us to be sent back to school because a lot of kids in the area I'm from are mostly not vaccinated, and I don't think a lot of people take care of themselves as much as my family does, and I just want to take precautions, and I don't want to be in a place where I know it's not good for me.
I feel a little weird. I mean, it's totally different and yet the same. Masks are strange, it just doesn't feel real. The last year didn't feel real. So it's weird, but I'm happy to be here. I learn much better in person.
What a mix of emotions for students who are back in school this week. This is a big moment, starting school again during a pandemic. We wanted to know what this experience was like, so we tasked KUOW reporter Kate Walters with finding out. She spent the first day of school at Mount View Elementary in White Center. More than half of the students there are Hispanic, and it's a dual language program. Instruction is delivered in both English and Spanish.
Oh, qué buenos modales, gracias. Mi nombre es Señora Kaplan. My name is Mrs. Kaplan, like a cap on your head, Kaplan. And I'm so excited to meet you. I am your new interim principal. Soy la nueva directora interina de esta escuela. And I'm so excited to get to meet all of you. Okay?
I know you.
And this is Mr. Terry.
I know you. Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Terry. I know many of you. It's so nice to see you in person. It's great to have you here.
I know you.
Yeah, so Jorge, we're going to practice, actually. So first I want to remind you that safety is our number one goal. So we're keeping you safe. So it's great that you're wearing your mask and you're staying separated and distanced. We're not going to be giving high fives or hugs. So I like to give hugs like this. You ready, Jorge? Let's give a hug. Oh, Oh, yeah, so we give a hug like that. Okay?
That's Mount View Principal Laura Kaplan and Assistant Principal Lion Terry welcoming kids back to the first day back at school. And that sound you heard, just to clarify, was an air hug. Laura and Lion were going class to class to introduce themselves. And what I was seeing in those classrooms were desks arranged just slightly differently. The setup depended on the room, but in all of them, kids looked like they were more spaced out than normal. Still, it's hard in classrooms to have kids super far apart while still fitting everyone in. When I stepped out of the classrooms into the hallway, the first thing I noticed was the black and yellow caution tape running down the middle. It was there to split the hallway in two, creating one-way lanes on either side with stickers on the ground showing which way kids could go. Kids got into distanced lines and filtered out into these newly adorned hallways between classes. In the morning, first graders were in music class with Chris Schultz.
Here we go. Drums. Last time. Go. That was pretty good. Perfect. Thank you so much. This is called a wood block. Everyone say, that's a wood block. Wood block. Wait. It's really good. Say, that's a wood block. That's a wood block. There it is. What is this? A wood block. Nice job. Here's what it sounds like. Listen. That's it. What? That's a wood block. Raise your hand if you've seen a guitar before. Leo has. Like Jonathan has. I hear someone say something. I want to call it a quiet hand. Charles, what did you say?
I have a guitar at my house.
Awesome, very cool. Let's see here.
I have no guitar.
Here's what it sounds like.
That's a ukulele.
Aiden. Can you raise your hand? Aiden, what did you say?
That's a ukulele.
It is. It's a small guitar, which is actually a really big ukulele. Here's what it sounds like. When we are able to sing safely, we're going to use this a lot.
No singing in music class isn't the only change made necessary by COVID. COVID precautions have changed a lot of things. One big one is lunch. That was my next stop during the day to see what that looks like. Figuring out how to do lunchtime safely is important at all schools right now. It's the time when masks come down. But it's especially important at a school like Mount View, where so many of the kids rely on access to school meals.
Okay, first graders, this way. Okay, we're gonna go up this way for lunch.
Okay, so right now I'm watching some of the younger kids get their lunch. They're picking up a small carton of milk. They're getting a fruit snack from another station. And then they're getting their main lunch on a tray. And it looks like they're having burgers today. And once they've got their tray with their fruit and their milk and their burger, they're walking back outside, which is where they'll be eating their lunch. You know, it's a little chaotic, right? These are young kids. They're learning how this works. It's a new lunch system because they don't want to keep kids inside for too long. They're trying to maintain distance, but that can be really tough. What I have seen throughout the day so far, though, is that kids are being pretty good about their masks. You know, a couple of times I've seen some masks below noses or some masks sort of coming off and being tugged on. But mostly I'm seeing kids wearing them, you know, better, frankly, than many adults do, covering the full nose, covering the chin. I have just walked outside where kids are having lunch and they're sitting on the ground. They've each got their tray in front of them. They're going to be allowed to take their masks off for lunch. So kids have got their masks off right now, sitting outside. It's actually a beautiful sunny day. So this will look a little different when the weather turns. But right now, it is like a little outdoor picnic. And, you know, there are a couple of kids who are sitting a little closer to friends. But I'm seeing a good amount of distance between kids here. We're looking at least 6 feet between most children. Teachers were reminding those students who drifted over to friends to go back to their spot while they had their masks off. Some of the bigger grades had one class eat inside, but they were spread out. A table that would normally hold 4 or 8 kids only had 2, one at each end, both facing the same direction. But for most of lunchtime, the cafeteria was full of completely empty tables. So inside the cafeteria right now, I'm just seeing yellow and black caution tape that will kind of guide the students in a line to go through and get their lunch. And the marks of COVID and the marks of the need for extra safety are just all over this school. Everywhere that you look, you can see preparations for in-person learning during a pandemic. You see X's on the floor to show them where to line up so that there's distance. You see systems in place to make sure that kids are distanced while eating outside. It is just, the pandemic has reached into every corner of this school, and what they're doing today is trying to work out, how do you make sure that those procedures go smoothly, that they are learned, and that they can be replicated throughout the whole school year and keep students safe?
Things will have to look a little different when the weather turns. Plans for rainy, snowy or smoky days, for instance, will have to be worked out. The return to full-time in-person learning isn't going to be without its road bumps, and neither was the first day back. Things were just a little different, and that takes some getting used to for everyone. It's a lot for students to digest as they head back into physical classes, and it's a lot for staff to manage. I saw staff strategizing in real time throughout the day. They could see that there were some points in their process that needed tweaking, and they were huddling on the fly discussing what was going well and how they could make things smoother moving forward. Lunch saw some of those moments. There was also some tension and stress at pickup. But all things considered, things seemed to go pretty smoothly. Back in Lyon's office, he took a moment during the day to unwind. For him, that means playing a little music.
But it's my routine, especially on the first day of school, to always play guitar, like in the morning especially, like before school starts. Before you got here, I played a little guitar. It's like my ritual. It's very calming for me. But you probably don't want that as background while we talk.
Please, feel free. You've had a hectic morning. If you want to play a little bit, I am more than happy to record sound of a guitar.
You know, my brain is still in logistics. I'm still like, okay, what went well, what's not going well, what do I need to, what can we change? Because, one thing we know about school is that the more we do it the same way every time, the better it is for kids, and the more comfortable everybody feels, and just the more smoothly things go, right? We don't want to have to change things too much as the year progresses, so you just want to have that consistency. So if there's something that needs to be changed tomorrow, we have to change it tomorrow. I'm not going to wait 2 weeks. We know what's working and what's not. We're going to figure out those kinks. I mean, the other thing I'm thinking is that was awesome. So cool to see so many kids that I know, and so many kids to recognize me and know me, and kids that I forget how many kids I know here, right? And to see them in person and to see them, it's just so fun, right? It's absolutely the thing I miss the most is greeting kids and having those little personal interactions with kids. So, yeah, I'm in my happy place.
Thanks for listening to Seattle Now. You can see photos from the first day of school at Mount View Elementary and around the Seattle area on our Instagram. We're at Seattle Now Pod. Kristen Leong produced today's show. It was edited by Clare McGrane. Our production team is Caroline Chamberlain-Gomez, Diana Opong, Matt Martin, and Jason Pagano. A huge thank you, Kate Walters and the staff at Mount View Elementary, for letting us share the first day of school with them. Thanks also to Lynn Strober-Cohen, Eva Solario, and Colin Yeen for contributing reporting to this episode. At the top of the show, you heard the voices of students Jose Solario, Chandler Dabbs, Zach Holloway-Mobley, Paulina Solario, Ellis Russell, and Harley Watson. Matt Jorgensen does our theme music. I'm Paige Browning. See you tomorrow.